Fitness Made Simple, Unlock Your Potential highlights the personal training and nutrition program of fitness celebrity John Basedow. Over the past few years, out of nowhere, John has burst onto the fitness scene, appearing in many national and regional exercise and bodybuilding-related publications. An outstanding accomplishment he attributes all to the basic result-producing, muscle-building, and fat-burning program he discusses on this tape. He's also been interviewed on numerous news and talk programs about his achievements. In keeping with the title, we've kept the look of this video simple, replacing glitz with straightforward truth and facts. Though individuals differ, we hope this video will inspire you to go for your goals, whatever they may be, and achieve the remarkable success and improved quality of life John has experienced.
Hi, I'm John Basedow. Since you bought this tape, you've already taken your first step towards attaining your ultimate physique. Now, whether you've just started to get into fitness or even if you've been training for a number of years, I'm going to try to give you some insights that can hopefully help you achieve more satisfying results in a shorter amount of time than you ever thought possible. Now, this over here is a little photo that was taken of me about a year ago. As you can see, I was in decent shape. I had been training for a number of years and getting more and more into physique development, at least in my mind. I'd been using a variety of highly touted and widely advertised supplements, but I was really nowhere in the type of shape that I thought I should have been in, considering the time and effort I was putting into my training. Now this is a photo that was taken of me just 8 weeks after the first photo. When I compared them, I couldn't believe the difference. As you can see, I actually had that tight six-pack of defined abs, which I had never been able to get before, even when I worked out religiously on my abs. My definition had increased unbelievably, and my time in the gym had been cut in half. You might think this sounds too good to be true, and if I didn't experience it for myself, you know, I would also. But the fact is, it is true. And it's all the results of the basic regimen that I discuss in this tape. Now, I guess it took those years of frustration and listening to all the misleading information in the fitness industry to finally filter out all the good stuff that I could use to create this seemingly simple program. But looking back, you know, it was worth it. And the best thing about it all is I can now share my program with you. I can also maintain my new physique with surprisingly less effort than I ever thought possible. It's all the results of a simple program that I like to call the fitness triangle, because it combines time-conserving workouts, proper nutrition, and intelligent supplementation like the three sides of a triangle. Now, as with the triangle, these three individual parts or sides combine together to form a new, stronger structure. In this case, a lean, muscular physique. Now, in this tape, I'm going to discuss the workout and nutrition sides of the triangle, and there's also an accompanying audio tape for the supplements. But let me point out one thing right now. Just because we call this video Fitness Made Simple, the word simple doesn't imply that your new physique is going to magically appear. As with any goal, you have to show commitment and dedication to achieve results. But I think once you do commit yourself to the goal of physique improvement, you'll be pleasantly surprised at how quickly you notice the positive changes. Let's start out with my sample workout. Now, my workout regimen consists of both cardiovascular or aerobic and weight training or anaerobic exercises. Well, the first thing I do about 4 out of 7 mornings in the week is 30 to 45 minutes on the stationary bike. I find it to be one of the best cardiovascular exercises, and I also happen to have one in my house. The reason why I do this cardiovascular activity first thing in the morning is that after about 8 to 10 hours of fasting while sleeping, our blood sugar and our insulin levels are low. And this is the perfect time for our bodies to access stored body fat for energy. Not to get too complicated, because I'll get into this later in the nutrition segment, but after we've eaten, especially after we've eaten carbohydrates, our blood sugar and insulin levels rise and fat burning stops. When I first added the cardio routine of the stationary bike to my exercise regimen, I noticed dramatic improvements in the area of body fat reduction. Now, if your schedule doesn't permit you to do your cardio first thing in the morning, you can also add it after your workout or possibly later at night, but just try to make sure that it's done on an empty stomach. Also, try to keep your cardio sessions to be low impact, to keep your heart rate in a fat burning mode. If you're huffing and puffing while you're doing it, you could be breaking down muscle tissue and you're possibly working too hard. you should be able to carry on a conversation like I'm doing right now without losing your breath. My early morning cardio routine helps keep my heart rate in a fat-burning mode for the rest of the day. And sometimes I like to read a magazine or watch TV to help the time go quicker. If you already have a low body fat percentage, you can lessen or eliminate your cardio routines. However, if you have more than a few pounds of fat to shed, you can increase the frequency or duration of your cardio sessions until you've reached the level of body fat that you're comfortable with. My morning cardio session really perks me up and gets me ready for my workout. First, I have my first meal of the day. We'll get on to that later in the nutrition segment. But right now, it's on to the gym. The biggest complaint most people have when it comes to working out is that they just don't have time. With prior commitments like work, family, and paying bills, it's often hard to find time for ourselves. And you know, that's what working out is, time for us. But once you do make the commitment to building a better body, you will make the time for it. And the good news is, it really doesn't require that much time. The first thing I learned when it comes to working out is that more isn't necessarily better. In fact, it's usually worse. And that was good news to me since I don't like spending too much time in the gym. The key words for training should be short and intense. Just 3 days a week in the gym and no more than an hour at a time should be more than enough time to make quality improvements in our physiques. You see, muscles need stimulus to grow, but not so much so that they break down. Overtraining is one of the most common mistakes people make. Now, I was a big victim of this, training 6 or 7 days a week in the gym. This practice can actually be catabolic, causing muscle tissue to break down and causing us to lose muscle mass. Muscles actually need rest to grow and rebuild themselves. Just think, only 3 hours a week and we can entirely rebuild our physiques. Now, even the busiest person should be able to find that amount of time to devote to improving his or her body, as long as you make the commitment. And remember, aside from the cosmetic benefits, a lean muscular physique increases our metabolism, since muscle is a fat-burning furnace, increases our self-esteem, usually increases our resistance to many illnesses, and also increases our energy so that we're able to accomplish our goals in other areas of our lives as well. In my current workout, on day 1, I work my chest and back. Now, I usually start out with some simple stretching exercises to get warmed up. One of the best ones I like to do is the trunk twist, with a bar like this on my shoulders. Usually I like to do about 100 to 150 of them, and I find that this really stretches out my back. I might follow this up with some push-ups or pull-ups as well to further get warmed up for my first chest exercise. To start with, I like to do the standard bench press with dumbbells. Now, you can use the barbell or the machines if you prefer. I just prefer the dumbbells for 2 main reasons. Number 1, they allow each of my sides to work somewhat independently and tend to stretch the chest more. And number 2 is they really don't allow my stronger side to do most of the work like it can do with the barbell. My weaker side with the barbell can sometimes get away with acting just as a guide, while my stronger side pushes the weight up practically by itself. Now, for this exercise, I like to start off with a weight that I can easily do about 6 to 10 reps with, and I also like to do about 3 sets.
Breathe out on the concentric motion as you squeeze the weights up, and breathe in as you slowly lower the weights on the eccentric motion. This exercise works the entire pectoral region, as well as the biceps and triceps. I like to start with a warm-up set or 2 prior to my 3 work sets.
The next exercise I like to do for the chest is the incline flies, also with dumbbells. Now, for this exercise, I like to pretend like I'm hugging a barrel, keeping my elbows slightly bent and squeezing up with my pecs. This particular exercise really works the upper and inner pecs, 2 of the hardest areas to develop. I like to do about 6 to 10 reps of this exercise and about 3 sets. The third exercise I like to do for the chest is actually a machine called the pec deck. Now this machine is perfect for etching detail into the inner part of the pecs. What you want to do with it is squeeze the weight up slowly, pausing for a second on the contraction and then lowering the weight back slowly. You want to start with a weight that you can do fairly easily, like I'm doing about 100 pounds right now, and you might want to do more or less depending on what your fitness level is right now.
For those of you who don't want to join a gym, you can develop a phenomenal chest by simply following the dumbbell exercises, which require only the dumbbells and maybe a bench at home. Of course, there are always those other videos that advocate lifting 2 jugs of water on a broomstick, but I've yet to see anyone make any gains from this method, and I doubt you know anybody who has either. If you want to make improvements, I think dumbbells and a bench are the bare minimum. After you follow this routine for a month or so, to keep things more interesting, you can substitute in other chest exercises, like the decline press, dumbbell pullovers, or cable crossovers. I discuss them in later tapes, but for now, these basic 3 chest movements should be more than enough to produce results. Remember to try to increase the weight you lift with each visit or 2 to the gym. Challenge yourself by pushing your body to its limits every day.
The next body part for today, day 1, is the back. For starters, I like to do the bent over barbell row, one of the most basic exercises for developing thickness in the back. This is one exercise where I really prefer the barbell over the dumbbells. Now I'm going to start out with using a weight with 45-pound plates on either side. However, if you're just starting out, you might want to just use the bar or a lower weight.
Once again, I use a weight that I can do 6 to 10 reps with, and I like to perform about 4 sets of this exercise. I start with my feet about shoulder width apart, knees bent with toes pointed up, and I grip the bar, keeping my fingers and thumb together. Keeping my back angled, I squeeze the weight up, imagining I'm elbowing someone behind me. This helps me keep the tension on my back without overusing my biceps to move the weight. I then lower the weight slowly, feeling the stretch in my back muscles. This is one exercise I can really feel.
The next exercise for the back is the lat pull-up. Now if you're just starting out, don't get discouraged if you can't even do 1 lat pull-up. When I was first starting out, I couldn't either. In fact, I just hang there on the lat pull-up bars like laundry on a clothesline. But I realized it was just one more goal to shoot for. And now I'm proud to say I can even do double digits of lat pull-ups at the end of a hard workout. As you're building up to the lat pull-up machine, you might want to go to the lat pull-down machine, which is a machine at many gyms, which allows you to actually adjust the weights on the weight stack until you can actually lift your body weight on the pull-up bars.
To work up to the wide grip, beginners can start with their hands closer together. Once you do get the ability to do lat pull-ups, you'll find it's one of the best exercises for stretching out the back and developing width in the lats. Varying your grip position targets different areas of your back. I like to think of it as the wider the grip, the wider or more V-shaped the back. Once again, I like to do about 3 sets of lat pull-ups.
On day 2, we're going to work our shoulders, biceps, and triceps. As usual, we'd start off with a few simple stretches like push-ups or pull-ups, and assuming we've already done those, it's on to shoulders. Now my favorite exercise for shoulders is the shoulder dumbbell press. As you know, I like the dumbbells for the same reason I like them with the bench press routine. However, you can feel free to use the barbell or the machines if you prefer. I also like to pyramid up in weights, and that means going with a higher weight with each set.
I start out with a warm-up set or 2, and then it's time to get going with 3 or 4 work sets. This is a great exercise because it hits all 3 heads of the shoulders: the front, side or lateral, and the rear. Always make sure to control the weight on the way up and down, feeling the muscles stretch and contract.
The next movement I like to do for the shoulders is the dumbbell lateral raise, or the dumbbell side shoulder raise. This is one exercise that really burns, and if you haven't done isolation movements for the shoulders before, it might leave you very sore the day afterwards. This is an exercise that I like to do about 25 or 30 pounds with, a relatively light weight. If you're just starting out, I'd suggest you might go even lighter than that, possibly only 5 or 10 pounds till you get the motion down.
I use a relatively light weight and try to control the upward and downward motion rather than swinging the weights up and down like we see many people, and they know who they are, do. This exercise can carve razor-sharp striations into the shoulders and also gives great separation between the deltoid or shoulder muscle and the rest of the arm.
That's the separation.
I do 3 sets of this exercise and then finish off shoulders with rear deltoid raises, also with light to moderate dumbbells. There are many other shoulder exercises like upright rows, cables, and shrugs, but I find these 3 exercises I'm showing now on this tape have been the most beneficial to me. You can feel free to substitute some of the others into your routine to add variety. Remember, you should enjoy and look forward to your workouts, so it's very important not to let them get stale or boring. Changing the order of exercises or substituting one exercise for another can help keep your mental energy and motivation high.
Now it's on to the arms. I like to start with my triceps. Now I know a lot of you think big biceps are synonymous with big arms, but that's not really the case because it's the tricep muscle that actually makes up 2/3 of the arm's muscle mass. So if you really want big or just lean and defined arms, you'd better work those triceps. And that's what I'm going to do right now with one of my favorite tricep movements, and that's the tricep pushdown machine. What you want to do is, while looking straight ahead and without twisting your head back and forth, lower the weight, concentrating on that flexing of your triceps. In fact, when you do flex your triceps, you can really hold it down for a second to really concentrate on that contraction. Then breathe in as you lower the weight back to the stack on the eccentric movement.
I particularly like a variation of this exercise where I use a rope instead of the bar. This works all 3 heads of the horseshoe-shaped triceps muscle. I also tend to feel it more. I do 3 or 4 sets of this exercise and then go on to my next triceps exercise.
In this case, lying triceps extensions, or skull crunches as they're affectionately called. This is another great exercise for adding mass to the triceps. Now what you want to do here is grab the weight, lie back, and while keeping your triceps in to isolate your triceps, keep your elbows in, bring the weight up in an arc-like movement and down in a slow, controlled movement, like that. This is a difficult exercise for beginners to get used to a lot of times because it's difficult to get the motion down. But once you do get the motion down, you'll find that it produces some dramatic results and some great gains in triceps muscle mass. For biceps, I like to start out with the tried and true standing bicep curl. Now for this exercise, you can use either the easy curl bar or the straight bar. And I like to switch on and off between the two because I find that each hits my muscle at a different angle. I think the alternation between the two keeps my body from getting used to the movement and keeps my muscles growing. I also think that this exercise is a particularly good one for adding mass to the biceps.
This exercise works the inner to upper biceps. I like to do about 3 sets of this exercise, isolating my biceps by keeping my elbows at my sides and not rocking backwards. Keep the movement steady and controlled. When you see other people trying to show off in the gym by loading on the plates and then bending backwards and contorting themselves in all sorts of wild ways to hurl the weight up, just look at their arms. They're usually not what you want. Keep your mental concentration high and make sure to feel every contraction.
After the standing barbell curl, I like to do a couple of sets of seated alternate hammer dumbbell curls, followed by a couple of sets of concentration curls.
For the seated hammer alternate dumbbell curl, keep your elbows at your sides and lift the weight as if you were holding a hammer. This movement helps me to isolate the brachialis muscle of my biceps. This is the ball-shaped part of the bicep, which adds a great deal of volume and dimension to the arm. For the concentration curls, I make sure my elbow is set against the inner part of my thigh, and I squeeze the weight up, making sure to feel that contraction in the bicep. Then I lower it slowly. One great thing about this single arm exercise is that you can use your free hand to help spot the weight on the concentric or raising phase and then lower it without assistance on the eccentric phase. This exercise is a great shaping movement for the biceps.
After that, you'll be glad to know day 2 should be over. And if you look at the clock, it should be only about an hour later. Day 3 starts out with the abs, and then it's on to legs, often considered the most dreaded of workouts. Now, for the abs, we're going to show you how I work my abs in the gym once, maybe twice a week. Other days, I work them at home since they don't require any special machinery. But many of the ab exercises that you'll see me doing in the gym today can also be tailored to your home schedule as well. Now, as far as when it comes to training abs, the most important thing is getting them to show. And that we'll discuss later in the nutrition segment, because it turns out that since they are a small muscle group, they're actually very, very easy to build. And believe me, everyone thinks that when it comes to that ripped look, nothing makes you look as cut up as a great set of abs. The first exercise I like to do for abdominal development is the standard ab crunch. Now this exercise is very basic and can be done in both the gym and the home. It works the entire mid-abdominal region, concentrating on the upper abs. And contrary to popular belief and current advertising gimmicks, you really don't have to shell out money on any of those late-night ab gizmos to get a great set of abs. All you have to really do is do a great standard ab crunch. And I like to start out with 40 to 50 reps, 3 sets of this exercise to warm up my entire abdominal region.
I keep my hands under my chin and not behind my neck to reduce neck strain. Then, concentrating on the contraction, I squeeze my abs together so that when fully contracted, my head and shoulders are off the floor, but my back stays on the floor. In the beginning, I sometimes like to keep one hand on my abs to actually feel the contraction. This helps me keep the mind-muscle connection and keeps my mental concentration high. Breathe out on the way up and inhale on the way down. Keep the movement controlled and steady. Once again, always focusing on the contraction.
Another area of the abs I like to hit, especially at home, is the side abs or obliques. A lot of times this is what I consider the forgotten abs. These also add incredible dimension to the entire ab region, and they're not really that hard to work. All it takes is a slight variation of the standard ab crunch, and that's the side ab crunch. I often have to psych myself up for leg day because I consider it to be the most grueling of workouts. Now, as usual, we're going to start off with a few simple stretches for the legs, and assuming we've already done those, we go and hit the machines. The first machine I like to hit is the leg extension machine. The reason why I do that is for 2 reasons. Number 1, it further warms up my legs on lower sets, and number 2, it helps get me mentally ready for the 2 more grueling leg workouts, the squat and the leg press, that are coming up. Now with this particular machine, I think it's great for developing the muscle mass in the quad region, particularly in this teardrop section of the quads. What I like to do with this weight is sometimes do single leg drop sets following immediately after my double leg set.
I do 3 sets of this exercise usually, and start with a weight I can do 10 to 12 reps with. Locking my feet under the foot pad and pointing my toes up, I contract my quadriceps, slowly raising the weight, concentrating on the contraction. Then I pause for a second or 2 on the contraction and slowly lower the weight back down. This time concentrating on the stretch and actually feeling my muscle fibers pulling apart. After this, I rest a minute or a minute and a half and repeat the exercise with a higher weight. You can also stay at the same weight for 3 sets if you wish. By pointing my toes inward, I find this exercise works the outer quads, and conversely, when pointing my toes outward, I feel it more in the inner thighs. It's good to try this for variety. Next up, the squat.
The squat's considered to be the basic exercise for developing muscle mass in the legs. Now for this exercise, I like to use a weight belt, and I often like to have a spotter spot me. However, since I don't have a training partner with me today, I'm going to use a weight that I can easily handle for about 6 to 10 reps. I like to do about 3 sets on the squat.
When doing this exercise, I try to keep my back as straight as possible, bending only at the knees so I feel the strain primarily in my quads and glutes. Getting the form down on this exercise took me a while and requires a lot of concentration, particularly towards the later reps. I do about 3 sets of this exercise and then usually thank God when it's over. I know most fitness people in videos make an effort to say how much they enjoy a certain exercise, but I'd rather tell the truth. I don't enjoy doing squats, nor do I look forward to them. I do them for one reason and one reason only. My legs are hard to build, and I've seen results from doing them.
Okay, I hate squats. My next exercise is the leg press. Now this machine also works the thigh region, but by varying your foot position you can also hit your hamstrings and your glutes. Now on this particular exercise I like to do about 3 sets with as high a weight as I can handle on that particular day.
I like to lower the weight as slowly as possible to really feel my muscle fibers stretching and pulling apart. Then I contract my thighs and push the weight back up. I find this exercise is also great for building muscle mass in the legs. In fact, on days when I'm not just up for doing squats, I'll add these extra leg press sets to my routine for some variety.
After the leg press, I like to target my hamstrings or leg biceps. How I do this today is with the lying leg curl machine. This machine is great for targeting the leg biceps, although you can use some other machines like the seated or standing leg curl as well.
For the lying leg curls, I like the machines with a V-shaped bench. This type helps keep my lower back flat and isolates my hamstrings best. I do 3 sets of this exercise, and as with the seated leg extensions, I often do supersets with single leg curls immediately following my double leg sets. Once again, I concentrate very hard on the concentric phase of the movement, making sure I squeeze my hamstrings until the back of my feet touch my butt. Then I lower the weight slowly, concentrating on the stretch. I find that pointing my toes forward helps to keep my leg biceps isolated throughout the entire movement.
The last part of leg day for me is the calves. Now for this muscle group, I like to do either the seated or standing calf raises. For today, I'm going to do the seated version. Now with this exercise, you can really help to stimulate growth in this difficult to build muscle region by varying your foot position, either pointing your toes inward, outward, or straight on.
Placing the balls of my feet on the foot pad, I let my heels drop as low as possible, and then contract my calves to squeeze the weight up. I like to hold the contraction for 1 or 2 seconds before slowly lowering the weight down. Since the calves are so difficult to stress, after all, we stress them by our body weight every day by just standing and walking, I like to do at least 20 reps for each one of my 3 to 4 sets.
Ooh. Okay, and that's it. The workout's over and day 3 is over. It may seem like a lot at first, but once you make the commitment and get used to your workout routine, working out will be just like second nature. And think about it, it's really not even that much of a time commitment for even the busiest person. Just 3 hours a week, and you're on your way to the body of your dreams. Unlike most videos which focus on working out with only a minor emphasis on nutrition, I believe proper nutrition is probably the most important aspect of any side of the fitness triangle when it comes to achieving good muscular development. As I often say, you can go to the gym as much as you want to make your muscles grow, but it's often nutrition that makes them show. You see, a lot of people have great muscular development, but you'd never know it because of that layer of subcutaneous body fat that obscures definition. If you're trying to get lean and muscular, the goal of your nutrition plan should match your goals. That is, to build muscle and to lose fat. Now I know immediately the majority of you are thinking of the word diet. Diet, I hate that word. Diets imply deprivation, and proper nutrition shouldn't mean deprivation. So that's why we're going to use the words nutrition plan. Let me introduce you to a new way of eating. A way that has made me steadily increase my lean muscle mass without the starvation and yo-yo effects of gaining and losing weight that result from traditional diets. Ironically, I sometimes feel like I'm eating more and more, but still getting leaner and leaner. Once you do have the knowledge of how your body works and follow your nutrition plan for a few weeks, sticking to it, just like working out, is going to become second nature like a habit. But now, let's start with the basics. As most of you already know, food is divided into three basic categories: proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. These are what's known as the macronutrients. Now, contrary to popular belief, none of these macronutrients, not even fat, are inherently evil, and I make sure to have some of each every day. Good protein sources include chicken and turkey breasts, fish like tuna, whey protein powders, egg whites, and skim milk. Carbohydrates are divided into two groups: high glycemic and low glycemic carbohydrates. Now, this gets a little bit technical. You see, the glycemic index of a food relates to its blood sugar raising ability. High glycemic carbohydrates cause a rapid rise in blood sugar, which in turn causes a rapid outpouring of insulin to, in a sense, mop up all the excess blood sugar and shuttle it into cells. Now, whatever is not used by muscle cells at that point in time is usually quickly and quite simply converted into stored body fat. That being said, some good lower glycemic carbs which don't cause this rapid rise in blood sugar include oatmeal, my favorite, rice, vegetables, sweet potatoes, and whole grain breads that you can actually see the seeds in, like olive bread and multigrain bread. Examples of bad high glycemic carbs include many highly processed simple sugar foods like fruit juices, many cereals, also those fat-free cookies and cakes, and even the dieter's favorite, the rice cake. You know, it's hard to believe that even with the highly advertised multi-billion-dollar fat-free craze, studies are showing that people are actually getting fatter and fatter. Imagine that. The reason why is because most people don't realize that the food we eat is only as relevant as the hormonal and biochemical pathways that it affects in our bodies. And that brings me to fat. Many of us have been repeatedly and continually lied to, as we're told that all fat is inherently evil and bad for us. In my opinion, nothing could be further from the truth.
First of all, fat lowers the glycemic index of foods and improves insulin resistance by slowing the absorption from the digestive tract, so we don't get that fat-producing huge insulin spike. Fats are necessary for healthy skin and hair. Fats are involved in the production of hormones that control a variety of biochemical functions in the body, including testosterone production and possibly growth hormone production. That's why many people find it hard to build muscle on an extremely low-fat diet. Fats are also necessary for the development of brain tissue and are an essential component of cell membranes. And finally, for those of us trying to get that ripped or cut look, a diet too low in fat inhibits fat metabolism, since our bodies need essential fatty acids to process body fat metabolism.
Alright, now that I've sung the praises of fat, let me point out that not all fats are created equal, meaning there are both good and bad fats, and these are divided into different groups. The first group of good fats are polyunsaturated essential fatty acids. Now, these fats our bodies cannot make, and they must be obtained from food sources, like my favorite source, flaxseed oil. Now, flaxseed oil is very special for a number of reasons. Not only does it stop fat storage, or actually help prevent fat storage, it increases our metabolisms, increases insulin sensitivity, and in some studies, it's actually been shown to be anti-catabolic. Yes, it can even help stop muscle tissue breakdown. The other group of good fats is the monounsaturated fats, and these include one of my other favorites, all-natural peanut butter, olive oil, as well as canola oil and avocados. The nasty fats, or the bad ones, are saturated fats, and these are primarily present in animal meats, dairy products, palm and coconut oils that are found in many bakery products that we may have, and these are the ones that should generally be avoided. Now, as far as my general fat intake for a day, I try to have 1/3 of my fats from the essential fatty acid group, and that's my flaxseed oil. I have 1/3 from the monounsaturated fat group, which is usually either the olive oil or the all-natural peanut butter, and no more than 1/3 from the saturated fat group. They're very hard to avoid, as there are trace amounts present in chicken and turkey breasts, oatmeal, and any other treat I may have. Now that we've gotten a lot of the background information out of the way, we can go over the nutrition plan that took me from this to this in just 8 short, though some of them seem very long, weeks. Of course, that's 8 weeks of practicing a plan that took many years of frustration with bogus diets and learning from my mistakes to formulate. And that brings me to one of my favorite catchphrases, and that's following a nutrition plan is easy. Thinking about it is the hard part. Truer words were never spoken. I believe that once you have a goal and a plan to accomplish that goal, you should write them down and just do them, and then you'll be successful at whatever you want to do. Now, my goal of my nutrition plan is basically to build muscle mass and to lose fat. How I do that is by having a diet comprised primarily of 40% protein, 30 to 40% carbohydrates, and 20 to 30% fat. And yes, in the beginning, I actually wrote down each of the different foods I had at each meal, broken down into grams of fat, protein, and carbohydrates in this little notebook right here. Now, I know we call this video Fitness Made Simple, but think about it. What's more simple than taking a minute or two at each meal to look at a label and write down some numbers in a book? First of all, it helps to keep you more focused on your nutrition plan, and once you know the certain foods that you're eating day in and day out, you get to know their nutrient breakdowns by heart. Keeping this nutrition diary helps us tally up the calorie contents and nutrient breakdowns of each food, so we'll have the total calories and the total grams of protein, carbs, and fat we've eaten that day. It's easy. I'll do an example a little bit later to give you the hang of it. Now, each day my food choices change a little bit, and if I'm trying to cut up or add definition, I'll skew my plan a little bit more towards the protein side, increasing protein intake to about 50% and keeping carbs at 30% and fat at about 20%. Now, I find this plan, when used in moderation, really helps me shed some extra pounds of fat and water weight and increases my definition considerably. Now for a sample day and some sample meals, let's go to the book. Let me first say that I don't really follow a typical 9 to 5 schedule like many other people. On this particular day, I awoke at 8:15 in the morning and went to bed at 1:30 in the morning. However, let's see how easily my nutrition plan can be tailored to fit almost anybody's schedule. Now remember, we're trying to do basically two things. We're trying to have about 6 meals a day, about every 3 hours or so. And what that's going to do is it's going to basically keep a steady flow of nutrients going to our muscles, it's going to increase our metabolisms, and it's going to help us avoid that hungry feeling that leads to cheating. We're also trying to eat our foods in combination, meaning proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, to slow the absorption and to avoid that insulin surge I spoke about earlier when we eat high glycemic carbohydrates by themselves. Now, on this particular day, at 9 a.m., I had one of my favorite meals. It involves 6 egg whites, it's an omelet, with ground turkey breast, and this time I even threw in some red and green peppers. They add a little bit of carb calories to the meal, but a lot of taste. I also had my oatmeal, which is 1/3 of a cup, and 2 rice cakes with 1 tablespoon of peanut butter on them. Now, originally when I first started this nutrition plan, I didn't really like oatmeal that much, but I found that one trick I would do would take an artificial sweetener like Equal and put that in it, mix it up a little bit, and then I would add some of the oatmeal to the rice cake. Now remember, the rice cake already has the peanut butter on it, which is my good monounsaturated fat. It's all natural. I have enough carb calories to get my day going, and it's a very high protein meal. This particular part of the meal, the rice cake with the peanut butter, may not look that appetizing. However, I can tell you it really is. At 11:30 a.m., I had a protein drink with a ½ tablespoon of flaxseed oil in it. I like to use the chocolate whey protein powder, and you just put that right in the blender. And of course, I use the essential fatty acid rich flaxseed oil that we talked about earlier. I take about a ½ tablespoon of that and pour that right in. And then by simply adding a little bit of ice, and sometimes I'll add some frozen fruit. On that day I didn't, but today I will, and we'll add some frozen blueberries for a little bit of flavor. And a packet of Equal in there. You put in your water, and it's actually going to make a very delicious, high nutrition milkshake. that makes me feel like I'm cheating even when I'm not. And right now, get ready for the sound because it's going to blend up. If you want to make it a little thicker, you can add some more ice, and sometimes I even like to eat it with a spoon, but this one's pretty thin. It can make a creamy milkshake, which is actually really quite tasty. This particularly happens to be my favorite of the drinks. It's the chocolate whey protein powder with the blueberries in it. After my workout and quick drive home, I had my third meal of the day. Now, for this meal, since it is the post-workout meal, you'll notice that I had at least 50 or so grams of carbs and protein because my muscles are right now begging for as many goodies as they can possibly get. Their glycogen stores have been depleted from the exercise. So I also try to make sure that my protein and carbohydrates are in some form that can be readily absorbed quickly by my body. That's where these meal replacement shakes come in great. These meal replacement shakes are actually vitamin-enriched, nutrient-dense, calorie-compact meals that are great for people on the go. Some of them even come in individual packets that can be carried in briefcases, suitcases, or even pocketbooks. I particularly like the Myoplex Plus chocolate flavor because it happens to taste the best to me, and it's also very high in protein. Now, in addition to this meal, I had my pear, which is a low glycemic fruit and adds some more carbs to my meal, and the final portion of it was a little bit of chicken breast and about a cup of mixed vegetables. Sometimes I add a little bit of Mrs. Dash on top of that to add some flavor. This meal is now very high in protein, the majority of which is readily absorbed by my body. Also high in carbohydrates. It's after my workout to restore the depleted glycogen reserves. And it's also relatively low in fat because we don't want to delay any absorption since our muscle cells right now are starving for as many nutrients as they can possibly get. My next meal of the day was meal 4 at 5 p.m. Now this was similar to some of the other meals. I just had about a 4-ounce turkey breast along with some mixed vegetables, in this case broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, and some red and green peppers. In addition to that, for some additional carbs and some additional good fat, I just added a rice cake with a little bit more peanut butter on top of it. Now you might think some of these meals take some time to prepare, and that's not really the case because as far as the chicken and the turkey breasts, I really just cook once a week and then keep most of them in tin foil in the refrigerator or even freezer. When I get home, I just pop them in the microwave with the vegetables, and in 2 to 3 minutes I'm ready to go. As far as carrying things to work, I use small Tupperware containers which easily accommodate a chicken or a turkey breast, a piece of fruit, or some vegetables as well. This completely eliminates the need for me to stop out at fast food or takeout places for all those fat-filled, saturated fat treats. And it's also helped my wallet because I've noticed I've saved a considerable amount of money by doing this rather than spending my money on junk food. And one other thing I want to point out, and that's water. I have about an 8-ounce glass of water with each of my meals, and I'll also have extra water in between my meals. The reason why is because both weight training as well as high protein diets are very dehydrating events, and I want to make sure I keep my muscles properly hydrated since they're made up of about 70% water. That way I'll feel pumped throughout the day. At 8 p.m. I had one of my favorite meals of the day. I like to call it my personal pizza. It's a delicious way to indulge the pounds away even on a very low-calorie nutrition plan. Now this is what one looks like when it's prepared. How to prepare it is simply to have about 2 to 3 ounces of ground turkey breast. This particular brand has only a half a gram of fat per 4-ounce serving. Use some fat-free cheese. I like shredded mozzarella cheese. Also, you can use a pita. This brand comes in whole wheat, plain, tomato pesto, or honey and grain. You fry up the turkey breast as well as some mushrooms, peppers, or you can put some onions in there, and you simply put it on to the pita. To fry it up only takes about 2 minutes. And then you sprinkle some of the fat-free cheese on top of that. This meal is amazingly quick and easy to prepare, and it's also one of the tastiest meals I have. Then you put it into the microwave only for about a minute to a minute and a half. Just enough time to allow the cheese to begin to melt. And while it's doing that, let me tell you about one other thing, and that's the kitchen scale. You see, I sometimes like to use a kitchen scale because it allows me to make sure that I'm getting the right weight per different foods. And if you're really sticking to your serving sizes, you might want to use the kitchen scale for reassurance. These particular brands cost less than like $10 to buy, and some people consider them very good investments if, once again, they're trying to stick to strict portion sizes. Ooh, and that sound means it's done. About a minute and a half later. Oh, that really does look delicious. Sometimes, if I'm in the mood for a Mexican pizza, I'll just add some black bean salsa to a dish like this. Or, if I'm in an Italian mood, I'll try to add some fat-free tomato sauce. And for those of you who are vegetarians, some diced mixed vegetables make a great veggie pita. Now, cutting a pizza like this in half can make two nutritiously balanced snacks as well. But you know, any way you slice it, my personal pizza is a delicious and quick meal that I look very forward to. Yes, I know it says 11 p.m. on the screen, and most nutritionists really don't advise eating much after 10 p.m. But remember, I'm a night person, and since I usually go to bed after 1:30 or 2, my 11 p.m. is like many other people's 9 or 10 p.m.s. But still, I do try to limit my food intake, especially my carbohydrate intake, later at night. So for this meal, I just had 5 egg whites and a little bit of chicken breast shavings, and another protein drink. This time with strawberries, as well as my essential fatty acid-rich flaxseed oil. You see, I do try to get at least 50 grams or so of protein and have some good essential fatty acids to slow the absorption because I'm about to go to sleep. And during that sleeping fast, my body will start sacrificing hard-earned muscle tissue to satisfy its protein requirements if I don't eat enough protein ahead of time. Well, that was one day as it actually happened. And now, as promised, let's go to the math. When I add up the total calories of the day, I get 1955 total calories. When I add up the protein grams, I get 258 protein grams. When I add up the carb grams, I get 145 grams. And when I add up the fat grams, I get 41 grams. Now, in order to get the calorie breakdowns, you simply multiply the grams of each macronutrient times their factor to get the calories. For instance, for protein, you multiply 258 grams times 4 calories a gram to equal 1,032 calories. For carbs, it's 145 grams times 4 calories a gram equals 580 calories. And for fat, it's 41 grams times 9 calories a gram, which is 369 calories. In order to get the percentage split of these nutrients to find out what our nutrition plan came out to be, take the individual macronutrient calories and divide by the total calories. In this case, protein, 1,032 divided by 1955 is about 50%. The 580 carb calories are divided by 1955 total calories for about a 30% ratio. And the 369 fat calories divided by 1955 total calories is about 20%. So that comes out to a nutrition plan of 50% protein, 30% carbs, and 20% fat. Now, you'll remember earlier when I said I try to have a nutrition plan where I have about 40% protein, 30% carbs, and about 30% fat. And that's what I usually do, except when I'm cutting up or trying to increase my definition, when I skew my diet more towards the protein side, making it 50% protein, 30% carbohydrates, and about 20% fat, like it was on this day, which just happened to be a day I was getting ready for a photo shoot. I tend to think that increasing the protein has a mild diuretic effect, which helps me shed those extra few pounds of water. Now, many nutritionists are also recommending nutrition plans now that have 40% carbs, 30% protein, and 30% fat, or equal divisions of the 3 macronutrients, meaning 33% carbs, 33% fat, and 33% protein. And these plans, which are really just slight variations of mine and each other, I believe work just about as well. Once again, I just really like to skew my plan a little bit more towards the protein side because I think it helps me control my mental energy a little bit better and also helps me control my cravings for sweets and other fat-producing cheat foods. I really do suggest that you try some of the simple recipes that I discussed earlier. You really will be surprised at how delicious they are and how quick and easy they are to prepare. Before I started my nutrition plan, I didn't cook at all. Now I've gotten very used to cooking and learned pretty quickly to make sure that I keep up with my fitness regimen. Unfortunately, due to some time limitations, we really can't go into all of the other basic dishes that I prepare on a daily or weekly basis. But if you would like some recipes for some more fat-fighting, muscle-building meals, you can order our special detailed low-calorie recipe guide, which comes with a list of high and low glycemic foods, as well as some advice on dealing with cravings and cheat days that they'll give you some advice on later on in the tape. I'd like to end this tape of Fitness Made Simple with a few tips that I learned from my experience. Hopefully they'll be able to help you as you begin or continue your fitness plans.
Number 1, your nutrition goal should be progress, not perfection. There are many ways to succeed, but aiming for perfection is the surest way to fail. With your nutrition plan particularly, this leads to a preoccupation with food cravings. No one eats perfectly all the time. Number 2, reward yourself with something like a movie or a shopping spree when you accomplish a goal, like getting through your first week of workouts without missing one. No accomplishment should go unrewarded or unnoticed. Number 3, take a before photo prior to starting your nutrition and workout plans, no matter what fitness level you're at now. I also recommend taking photos every 2 to 4 weeks because most people don't recognize changes day in and day out, but they're shocked to see their progress when they compare photos. And finally, number 4, keep in mind getting through the first couple of weeks of anything new is difficult. You're trying to change a lifetime of habits and it can't be done in a single day. Look at your new fitness regimen as a lifelong journey and not a weekend trip. Trust that you are taking control of your life and changing it for the better. Look to the future with a sense of eagerness and excitement.
Now that you have the basic blueprint with a fitness triangle, make fitness a priority in your life. Believe me, as your self-esteem and energy levels rise, it will become as much a part of your life as sleeping and eating. And once you do make the commitment to your new fitness regimen, you'll be amazed at how many positive changes it'll affect in other areas of your life as well. I know I am every day.
We'd like to thank you for ordering Fitness Made Simple, Unlock Your Potential, and sincerely hope it's your beginning to a healthier and more fulfilling life. If you would like to write to John about your progress with the program, you can email him at our website, www.fitnessmadesimple.com. Once you achieve your fitness goals, we hope you enter your before and after photos in our Fitness Made Simple Success Stories contest. Selected winners will be featured in our future Fitness Made Simple TV commercials and in the FMS Success Stories section of our website. This contest runs year-round, and winners will be notified either by phone or email. You can email your photos along with a brief story of how one or more of our Fitness Made Simple videos has improved your body and life to successstories@fitnessmadesimple.com. You can also send them to Manta Communications, 457 Main Street, Suite 365, Farmingdale, New York, 11735. Make sure to include your name, address, phone number, and email address on all photo entries. Photos will not be returned. Since proper nutrition is often considered the most important step to getting a better body, we are also offering our new Nutritional Keys to Losing Fat and Building Muscle package, which includes John Basedow's very popular motivational audio tape detailing his 5 result-producing rules of nutrition, an index list of low and high glycemic or good and bad foods, advice on dealing with cravings and cheat days, and a special recipe guide for more delicious low-calorie meals that are sinfully tasty and easy to prepare. To order the Nutritional Keys to Losing Fat and Building Muscle package, call toll-free 1-800-283-4230 if you're using your Visa, MasterCard, or Discover card, or order online at our website, fitnessmadesimple.com. You can also order a Fitness Made Simple t-shirt like the one you saw John wearing in parts of this video for only $19.95. Once again, you can call or order online at fitnessmadesimple.com if using your credit card. The following are commercials for our other videos featuring fitness celebrity John Basedow, which can also help you accomplish your fitness goals. All of these videos are now available in both VHS and DVD formats. Lose fat, increase energy, feel better about yourself than you ever thought possible, all in less than an hour every other day. Reshape your body in record time with Fitness Made Simple's new 45-minute fat-burning workout.
This workout is a double threat to our fat reserves. Number 1, we burn some fat just by doing the exercises. Number 2, the lean muscle we build uses fat for energy 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, even while we're sleeping.
Work out at home with fitness celebrity John Basedow, doing exercises to sculpt your chest, back, shoulders, arms, legs, and abs.
There are no tricky dance moves, no high-impact gyrations, just lightweight training done at a heart-pumping cardio pace to build lean muscle and burn pounds of fat.
Join the thousands of men and women who are improving their bodies and lives with our best-selling videos. Call now or order online at our website, fitnessmadesimple.com.
Fitness Made Simple, bringing real results to real people.
Defined abs. Everybody wants them, but they're so hard to get.
For me and apparently many others, expensive gadgets and gizmos just aren't the answer. The real secret to getting great abs lies in 2 key factors. Number 1, training variety to stimulate muscle development, and number 2, nutritional insights to lose fat deposits so you can see results.
New from Fitness Made Simple comes 6-pack abs with John Basedow, the complete abdominal sculpting video for both men and women. 6-pack abs incorporates both key factors with 3 different 10-minute or less home workouts and fat-fighting nutritional tips.
Food-wise, now I know what to eat and when to eat it.
I've dropped 40 pounds. It's not a lot of hype, it's not Hollywood, it really works.
6-pack abs has everything to maintain the ab definition I want. This video eliminates all the guesswork and provides a complete blueprint to building a lean, toned midsection.
Call now to order 6-pack abs with John Basedow.
Fitness Made Simple, bringing real results to real people.
Get fit and lose fat with the Awesome Hour Upper Body Home Workout, the new video from the creators of the best-selling Fitness Made Simple program. Hosted by fitness celebrity John Basedow, the Awesome Hour Home Workout offers an easy-to-follow weight training routine that gets results.
If you're too busy to get to the gym, or if you prefer to work out in the privacy of your own house, then you can shape up and build muscle with the Awesome Hour Upper Body Home Workout. All you need are a few free weights and a bench.
Work out with John, exercise by exercise, at home, and learn the keys to sculpting a lean, muscular physique.
The Awesome Hour Upper Body Home Workout provides exercises to help build your chest, back, shoulders, biceps, triceps, and even abs.
Just 1 hour or less for each workout. Now there's no time excuse for not staying in shape. Have your credit card ready and call now to start building the body of your dreams with the Awesome Hour Upper Body Home Workout. Or order online at our website, fitnessmadesimple.com.
Now you can begin and end your day with Fitness Made Simple's new AM/PM workouts with fitness celebrity John Basedow. Burn fat and build muscle by exercising with John first thing in the morning and later in the evening.
So many men and women tell me they're unhappy with their bodies, but they just don't have time to exercise. The AM/PM video makes it easy to incorporate short, result-producing workouts into your daily schedule without spending hours in the gym.
As a busy mom with 2 children, even I can find the time to stay in great shape with John's AM/PM workouts.
They're fun to do, and they keep me feeling great all day long.
Each workout's only 10 to 15 minutes long, and you can do them all right at home.
This video gives you morning exercise routines to energize you for the day and evening workouts to help relieve stress and decrease overnight fat storage. There's even a low-impact, no-weight workout that's perfect when traveling. So start and end your day looking and feeling great with Fitness Made Simple's AM/PM workouts. Call now to order.